everybody, I want to talk to you today about what to do if you're feeling depressed, anxious, and even powerless in this current climate. So if you're having a lot of anxiety about contracting this virus, or if you're feeling really overwhelmed with the racial injustice in the world, the first thing to know is that these feelings make a lot of sense with what's going on in our world today. But you want to make it your mission to begin controlling the things that you can control. Because there's so much uncertainty right now, and oftentimes when we feel all this uncertainty, we just become paralyzed. And we could wait for some certainty to show up in our lives, which of course is going to make us feel more relaxed and comfortable, but it's probably not going to happen anytime soon. So we could also just work on a mindset of, I don't know right now. And when you work on a mindset of I don't know, you're telling your brain that the outcome isn't positive and it's not negative. It's just not an either or outcome. And you begin to embrace the idea that perhaps the answers are going to come in time. And part of being in control might mean the need to give up control of everything around you. So, and it's also really important to remember that everything is an opportunity to learn something. So what can you learn from the challenges you're currently facing? I mean, maybe you're discovering a lot about yourself. Maybe you're discovering that you're more resilient than you ever thought, or that you're someone who really shows up for other people in need when needed. Because most of us have really suddenly been faced with a whole lot of new obstacles that we have never imagined in our life. We've never encountered before. So if you can start to view these obstacles as challenges that are here to help you become stronger, it allows you to begin taking control over the situation rather than feeling like it's controlling you. So it's also going to be much easier to implement some of these ideas when we have more control over what our brains are doing, because we're really social beings. So even if you think you're a loner or you don't really like people, mammals actually need other mammals to help regulate their nervous systems. So when we're physically distancing, we're not getting a lot of our basic needs met. So you really need to do some form of connection in your life, hopefully on a daily basis. And this could just mean meeting a friend at the park and wearing masks and sitting 6 feet away from each other and just talking, or having FaceTime calls with friends and family, as often as you can. Because what happens is when you're not connecting with others, we then try to comfort ourselves in other ways, and that actually begins to affect the way our brains work. And comfort often looks like a cycle of getting into, eating a lot of processed foods and sugars, or having too much alcohol or other substances, and then not getting restorative sleep. And all of these things are going to affect your amygdala, which is then going to react by causing you to behave with even more impulsivity. And then you also become disconnected to the part of your brain that's in charge of making the good decisions. So what happens is the more you eat the really junky food and the more substances you abuse, the more your sleep is affected and the more your anxiety and depression signals in your brain are going to be triggered. And when your amygdala is triggered, it's also much harder to have empathy for yourself and for others, which makes it even more difficult to make the positive connections that you need to make. And anxiety and depression are really triggered by stress. And ask yourself, how much news do I really need to watch on a daily basis? How much exposure to blue light from my computer and my phone am I getting on a daily basis? Because when we're watching a lot of content that's activating fear in us, like the news, our cortisol levels go up, and that activates anxiety. So if you can replace some of the scary content that you're watching every day with something fun to watch, or just call a friend that makes you laugh, laughter is going to really help bring these cortisol levels down. And another great way to bring stress levels down is to just be in nature. Again, this can be as simple as walking around a park every day and just looking at the trees, or going to the beach. But finding some time every day to put yourself in nature will make a big difference. And it also really helps with connection, because you can wave hello to people, you can pet some dogs, you can get some vitamin D from the sun, and that's all going to be really helpful to keeping you grounded. Daily exercise is also going to really help your body deal with the extra stress, because when you exercise, you're getting oxygen to your prefrontal cortex, which is going to help you with making the good decisions. So find something that you like to do, walking or biking or hiking or jogging, and make it a regular part of your week. And if you can also do some mindfulness activities like yoga or meditation, or even just sit and do some deep breathing every day. That's going to be really helpful. And lastly, when we find that we're feeling powerless, we begin to see ourselves as invisible, as if we don't have any impact on the world. So if you could imagine just a tiny way that you might be impactful, what would it be? I mean, it could be anything. It could be taking out the trash for your elderly neighbor, or fostering some animals from a local animal shelter, or, going back to school or making some art. Finding what is meaningful to you and making the decision to pursue meaning in your life is going to allow you to experience your unique ability to affect the world around you. So I hope you can start to implement some of these ideas, and know that if you're suffering from severe anxiety or depression, you can always reach out to a mental health practitioner for help. Thanks.